Where are we going?
Prague.
Ah, yeah. That's cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's also our anniversary.
Oh, that's nice.
Did you know that we got married 2 years ago today?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey buttheads! We're back! Sorry that it's taken us so long. Lots of things have been happening and we've had to process some emotions, but we'll cover that in the next video. Today we're here to talk about
Prague.
which was, did we actually see how many days ago it was? How many weeks? So yeah, this video is like nearly a month late.
It's fine.
Sorry. Shit got kind of real. Yeah, so we caught a train to Prague, which was really beautiful. We got on right before the sun went down, so we were able to see like heaps of the countryside. It was super cute.
It was a 4-hour train trip, which is fine. We also realized that 4 hours on a train is less intense than 4 hours on a plane because you don't have to go through being in a pressurized cabin. So it's actually less exhausting, which is nice. Yeah,
I like trains.
You also don't have to get there like early and then go through security and then like it's easier.
It's so much easier. Like we weren't even sure if anyone was going to check our ticket until they did like, I don't know, an hour into the trip. So yeah, the train was beautiful. We got to Prague and I had booked us our anniversary night dinner at this really cute Italian place in Prague. The pizza was phenomenal. So yummy. And we had a pasta dish as well. And the rest... Oh, yeah.
Well, no, what?
I was just going to say the restaurant itself was like really adorable.
Yeah. I was going to say afterwards we walked around.
Yeah. So straight after dinner we walked around what we realised was like the old town of Prague. And it was very quaint and adorable. And obviously... Well, not obviously. If you've been to Prague, you know that like all of the old buildings are just very like fairy tale like and super cute. So that was really fun, and there wasn't a lot of people around. So we got to walk around like a lot of the parts and walk across one of the main bridges and
Statue Bridge, which we didn't realize was like the big like tourist bridge.
Yeah, we went
just
that
saw
night.
all the statues and I was like, yeah, that's normal, I guess.
Yeah, we were just walking around, so we didn't really have a plan, and we ended up walking across like one of the main tourist attractions, and that was really nice. And then we
saw the clock.
Yeah, we saw the astrological, I think, astrological clock, but we saw that at nighttime too, and we didn't get to see what happens on the hour. So we came back a few days later and saw what happens on the hour. I am now.
Here they come. Hello.
Are these like the sins or something? Vices?
I felt that they have these holy circle things.
Look, the skeleton's moving too. I want the rooster to crow.
It already did.
Oh.
I think
What else were the main things that we did in Prague?
We got McDonald's for the first time in Europe.
I love that that's your like highlight.
Yeah.
Very on brand.
It was great.
It was really
You can order it on a screen and then you can change the language so I could understand what was happening.
Yeah.
Because Czech is a confusing language that is very far away from English, unlike German, which we can both kind of guess our way through because a lot of the words are the same. or just like have similar roots. So you're like, yeah, I understand. Czech is like, look at all these consonants.
Yeah. The veggie burger at the Macca's there was real good. We haven't tried the veggie burger in Germany yet, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same one.
So, a lot of plant-based options in fast food here.
So many. It's a dream. I mean, a lot of you have seen on my Instagram all of the vegan shit I'm posting, so I'm just like having a really good time with food.
Yeah, we also did the lunch that you booked as well.
Yeah. So I ended up booking 2 food events because I couldn't book the degustation for the night of our anniversary, so I booked it for lunch the next day. It was at a place called Field, and I imagine they called it that because all of their ingredients are like locally sourced. Everything is like incredibly fresh. It was phenomenal. Like, I don't know I know that not everybody is into what's it called?
Degustation?
Or fancy dining. What's the word?
Fine dining.
Fine dining. But Zach has massively converted me, and now when I think of like, you know, the real fancy romantic shit that we do together, I'm like, oh yeah, we both really love degustations, even though afterwards I always feel this like huge guilt about how much money I've spent on it. But it genuinely tastes so good that I don't feel like it wasn't worth it. It just is a lot of money. But, you know, people like fucking dedicate their lives to making food taste this good. So, you know, I understand why people pay them for it. Yeah, so that was just insane. We got the alcohol-free pairings, which were really interesting. There was like some juices, and like there was one that was almost like an olivey brine, which was super yummy. I can't remember what dish they paired that with, but
the pickle juice.
Yeah.
Brine. Yeah. It was like farm themed as well. So like one of the dishes is like a bowl where the rim in the glass is like a bird's nest, and they pour like dry ice, liquid nitrogen on it, so it like all piles out, and then it's got this little thing in the middle.
Yeah, it was very cool. Had a great time.
Yeah,
felt very fancy. Very awkwardly, I forgot to tip, and I felt guilty about it for the rest of the day. Look, we spent so much money there anyway. I don't know if they really needed it, but maybe they did, and that's why I feel really bad. Whatever, it's very much in the past now. What else did we do in Prague? We had a bit of a bitch about the castles. I'll hand over to Zach for this one because he explains it really well. Our feelings.
I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about class. And
wonder why.
I think that, especially because the experience of walking to the castle is that you're going up this like really fucking steep hill, and there's no like easy way to get up there, and it really makes you feel like, oh yeah, these people are like so much better than everyone else, and blah blah blah. And the castle is just like this big. It's not even a castle, really. It's like a little gated community where you walk in, and there's like all these different houses, and all the houses were like lived in by like artists, princes, and like noble people and all that kind of stuff. And they had artists and stuff as well, but like they had this one museum that was like, we didn't end up paying for it because I was like, I don't want to pay for this, but it was like a collection of art that was held by a family that is a royal family, like not even a king, like a prince family that still exists, and they had like a portrait of their family there. And they were like, yeah, this is like the highest ranking European royal family, I guess, that still exists or something like that, and they own all this art, which then they're like, oh, we'll let the public experience it, but then you're also paying to see it, so you're like, well, we're paying you money
to keep being rich. That was the moment that I started to feel really weird too, because I think in my brain I was like, oh, this was like forever ago, like they're just keeping these castles here because they're here, I guess, like no one actually benefits from it anymore. And then I saw this like current day family portrait on the wall, and I was like, ew.
And yeah, they had a lot of art from like Beethoven and like stuff from back in the day, and they just had this like massive collection. They were like, oh yeah, at one point the Nazis took it, but we got it back because of something. And I was like, okay, sure, I guess.
Yeah. The view from the top of the castle was fucking hectic. Like, so
Yeah, which was really cool, but then that also gave me feelings.
yeah, it's just like, oh, I'm so rich, I'm looking down on everyone, ha ha ha, you don't get to be the king of the hill, I can.
Which, from the place that we lived in Sydney, I would also have feelings like being like, oh yeah, I can see everyone, I'm so high up.
Yeah, but the difference was we invited everyone that we possibly could up to go and see that view, and that was your whole like ethos about it.
Yeah, we also didn't own it.
Yeah.
So
we ain't no landlords.
Yeah, so I got feelings from that. And then, also just like having this feeling, because Prague is like basically the center of the origin of Christianity in like Europe, right? So there's a lot of stuff around Christianity, which fine, whatever. There's a lot of stuff around the royal family, and like I just was thinking about how the government probably puts a lot of money into like maintaining that, and I'm like, I wonder if what the divide is between the cost of maintaining this stuff and the actual support given to the population of Prague. I don't know. I didn't look into it obviously, but it's just what I started thinking about.
Yeah, so I kind of, had removed the politics from my brain a bit until we'd started talking about it. So I was like a little bit miffed when Zach was kind of going on this thought train. And then I thought, well, instead of going and seeing the like massive touristy spots, what other culture could we experience that actually delves into the culture of the people actually living here right now and like, progressive ideas and things like that. So I did some searching and found this amazing contemporary art gallery. Gosh, I've forgotten the name of it right now.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. It had like an X and an O on it. It was like box or something. I don't know. Look, it was fucking Docs. Yeah, I think it was Docs. Fucking unreal. It wasn't even very expensive to go. And the one ticket got you into all of the exhibitions in the gallery. And there would have been like 5 or 6. So we literally spent like most of the day there.
Yeah.
And all of the exhibitions were like amazing quality. The first one that we went into was about war, and there was a lot about what's happening in Ukraine, and it was the most visceral kind of engagement I've had with the Ukraine war since it began, and it was really intense. And I think that art has an incredible way of connecting you to, good things and bad things, and it's so important that people are creating art about everything. And so that was really intense and powerful. So it came out of that feeling like, oh my god. And the second one we went into was about depression, and it was a virtual reality experience. So this artist had kind of created this narrative about his experience of depression, and it was really interesting to be in like VR goggles, and it was very like almost like cartoon like.
Yeah, like it was animated. You sat on a stool in like your own little like cubicle where the walls were just like drapery, like curtain kind of.
Yeah.
Really like thin gauze material. So like sometimes you would reach out and you would touch that, and that would be when you were trying to reach out to touch something. So that was almost like fun to have this like tactile thing that you're touching, and you could like spin around on the chair and stuff. It was really interesting because it was like submitted as a movie to a movie festival, I think, and it might have been like won something for that because it's still like a very new
medium.
Way to tell a story like that. So
the coolest thing in this art gallery, which I think we both agreed on, was this exhibit. How could we even go about explaining it? It was making fun of religion through household items that were built into shrines.
Yeah, like I think it was created by people like artists that were in residence at the gallery.
Yeah,
it was like a team of them, I think. But it was kind of about as well like capitalism and how much waste we create as well.
Yeah.
And then like using capitalism and objects to kind of talk about how capitalism is like the new religion.
Yes.
And it gave me a lot of feelings because it was like very like hoarder vibes.
Very hoarder vibes.
And a lot of the stuff just really reminded me of the stuff my grandparents would keep, and it like smelt the same as like my grandparents, like my European grandparents' place, and I was like, this is giving me like, and like there was this one thing, there was like all these like cassette tapes and like old technology, like really old technology.
Really old technology. It's so nostalgic.
And then one of the cassette tapes had like handwriting on it that I was like, this looks like my grandfather's handwriting.
Zach's Romanian grandfather.
So yeah, they built this whole like church thing.
It was like an altar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really like nuts. It was huge.
So big.
And just like...
And it was built out of like all old household possessions and like all old technology. Like they had cobbled together like all of these old cords to like, you know, reach a peak of the altar, and they had like this like wall of floppy disks. It was just totally unreal.
Some of these probably would still work. Oh no, but they don't have USB, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, they've got that old one they have to plug in.
Floppy disks.
Oh no. So, yeah, that was just cool. And yeah, like seeing all this stuff where you're like, oh, I remember when this existed. And you're like, so much of this must be in landfill now.
Yes. At least some of it got rescued for this exhibit. But yeah, the gallery in general was just like, I think...
Well, there was another exhibit as well.
Yes.
Which was
the technology one?
Yeah, they were still building it. But there was this thing around TikTok and basically talking about the For You page, and they created an algorithm called Not For You.
Yeah.
Where it basically runs a randomized thing to confuse the TikTok algorithm. Because it'll like kind of jump around the page, click into things, do other things, and then like basically just saying that TikTok shouldn't... The algorithm is too much.
Yeah. Because it's just like a feedback loop, right? It's like creating your own little echo chamber, which is like what Instagram does now as well. And we all know it, but we also can't escape it because it's just like forcing us to stay in it, which feels really icky. But yeah, the whole gallery was just very much in line with how we want to engage with society. So it was really refreshing to be able to see that in Prague after feeling so like icky about the castles and the like immense upkeep of the rich. So that was really cool. And there was also this like giant zeppelin or blip or whatever you want to call it made out of wood, and you could like walk through it, which was like very trippy and surreal because it was like there was heaps of gaps in the wood, so it kind of like you could see outside and you could also see below your feet too, so it felt really like, oh my gosh, can I walk through here? Am I safe? So that was a really cool experience too. That was the reason I chose it actually, because I was like, oh, look at this giant thing you can walk through. Yeah.
Because it's like a contemporary art gallery, but I've never enjoyed contemporary art to that degree. Contemporary art's cool and stuff, but I feel like I don't have the education to really like understand it or appreciate it to the extent that it should be. And whereas this was like,
it was very accessible,
super accessible, and very like funny and like, well, funny and then like depressing as well. Because yeah, like the war stuff like covered a lot of different like wars and a lot of different experiences. Like one of the...
Through a lot of different mediums too.
Yeah, well, one of the pieces that I found like quite difficult and I couldn't really like be around it for too long was literally someone had set up a chair and a speaker, and the speaker was playing recorded audio that they'd recorded in Ukraine. And it's just like such intense, like it's just like the bombs dropping and the air, it's just really intense to like know that was like, that's actually like literally happening right now.
Yeah, and they had like a lot of like video footage stuff set up too, and yeah, it was a lot.
But yeah, so it's kind of good that we did that first and then did the funny one last.
Yeah, they'd set it up very intentionally, for sure. Yeah, so that was so amazing, and I think we did that on the last day, so I think we really kind of left Prague on a high. The hotel we stayed in was really nice too. Oh yeah, we went to the spa. The hotel was like a wellness hotel, and you could book out like a private spa bath. So Zach and I had like a private spa bath for an hour, and we just laid there and like almost fell asleep.
Yeah, it was like the size of a hot tub.
Yeah.
You could probably fit like 6 people in there comfortably.
Yeah. It was beautiful. I really wanted to go into the sauna afterwards, but you had to pay extra. I thought about sneaking in, but I was too much of a baby, and I was like, do you have to pay for the sauna? And she said yes, and then I was like, well, I don't want to. So I left. But yeah, we also had like a couple of really good breakfasts. Well, I think the best breakfast and the best coffee we had in Prague was an accident. We were trying to get into one place that ended up being closed, so we like walked past another place, and it was like unreal. It had, you know, like real Newtown, Melbourne / Brooklyn vibes. Yeah. / really, Berlin. There's some good ones here too.
Really, really delicious coffee, like really cool food, like different than what you'd expect, but like really, really delicious. So that was fun to like walk into. Yeah.
We also tried a chimney cake on our expedition through Old Town Prague. It's like this giant pastry thing that has like ice cream in the middle. Very tasty. We went into the Old Town again a second time because there were still a couple of things that I wanted to see in the Old Town. All right, here in Prague, in the like central courtyard area. That's Sigmund Freud.
Do you think he slipped?
So you're zoomed in, sorry. Like we wanted to go and see the astrological clock on the hour because the clock like pops out. Who are they? The little characters.
The apostles?
Maybe.
I think it's the apostles.
Yeah.
I think you said they were the 7 deadly sins, and I looked at them and I'm like, I don't know, I think they're holy dudes.
But I think they were maybe holy dudes doing sinful or something.
Oh.
I don't know. I'll have to fact check that.
I don't think the sins are involved at all.
Whatever.
I think it's just holy stuff.
Okay. Well, that was funny. That it still does that. We were also going to pay money to go into the clock and go to the top, but then we didn't. We really love like not giving money to things that we don't believe in.
Look, I don't
know why we didn't for the clock. Yeah, sorry.
Well, also a lot of the older stuff was quite expensive.
Yes, that was another thing. It
Like,
didn't feel accessible.
No, it was like the tickets would have been like, I don't know, around Australian $40, and I'm like, I'm not paying that amount
for a
to
view.
look at paintings.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I think another reason I was like kind of felt weird about it was because it is like it's a bit weird when areas just focus on historical things and don't really recognize that people still like live and work and exist there.
Yes, it did have a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like a vibe of like where it's very apart, like the people who live there, and then the art history stuff. There's a word for it. You keep talking, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like I think that with certain things in certain cultures, like, you know, people act as if they're like frozen in time, but they're not. Like people still exist and people still like, you know, do stuff, and that's why I found it more fulfilling, I guess. Like like if we'd been there for a day or two, I'd been like, yeah, let's hit up the old stuff, that's cool. But
polarizing.
But yeah, being there for 4 days, I was like, all right, like I would like to also experience the culture of like the people that like still exist rather than the stuff that happened like 700 years ago.
Yeah, I also kind of wonder if COVID like fucked them really, really hard because they're such a tourism-focused city.
Probably.
And if they had no tourism coming through, like, that's it.
They still have princes.
Fair cop. Yeah. Was that everything that we did in Prague? I feel like I might be forgetting something, but
I think so.
yeah.
We watched some documentaries about communism
Yeah.
and how it spread through Europe and
How
the
Russia
reaction
fucked everybody.
was- Yeah, yeah. No,
I
like,
laugh.
we won't invade you, and then they're like, actually, we will.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Russia like making agreements with people being like, yes, we see that you are communist, this will be fine. And then they just decide it's not fine. And that they're becoming like too progressive communists. And they're like, no, but not like that.
Anyway, the battery's dying, so
Also, that's it for Prague. We had a really good time. We made it to our second wedding anniversary.
yeah.
We'll catch you hopefully soon because a lot has happened since Prague and we don't want to like forget about it. So peace out, buttheads.